forbidden precisely because it's true. But Joe Rogan doesn't work on television. He hosts a podcast, so he can say whatever he wants. And recently he did.
We're unhinged
in
a lot of ways, and we're not anchored down by a real leader. You know, we don't really have a real leader in this country anymore. I mean, you could say Joe Biden is the president, he's our leader, and you'd be correct on paper, but, I mean, everybody knows he's out of his mind. He's barely hanging in there.
Well, exactly. We don't say a lot about Joe Biden's decline on this show, partly because it's depressing, and partly because our default position always is to respect old people, especially when they get a little soft, as we all will if we live long enough. So it's bad karma to mock them for it. But in Biden's case, and he's the president, it's demonstrably true. And everyone knows that, including his family. So the question is, who's really in charge if Joe Biden isn't? And increasingly, it seems like Kamala Harris is running things. If you believe in democracy, this is a problem. No large group of people has ever signaled a desire to put Kamala Harris in control of the country. Just the opposite. In fact, at the height of the last Democratic primary season, most of her own constituents told pollsters they wanted her to drop out of the presidential race. Only 7% of Democrats in the state of California thought their senator, Kamala Harris, should be president of the United States. So the people who know her best have the least respect for her. But she got the job anyway, entirely by default. Here's the president Democrats thought they were voting for.
Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. This is an employees bargaining chip now. What's happening? I got $1.9 trillion so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for child care. I wrote the bill on the environment. Why would I not be for it?
What was that? Well, you know exactly what it is. But they're pretending that's not what it is. If you look at some of the wide shots in that tape, you'll see the usual propagandists from state media, PBS and others, smiling and pretending, oh, it's totally normal. But it's not normal at all. That's the president of the United States. This is a huge and dramatic change to our system of government. Biden's senility means an awful lot of power for Kamala Harris. And that's why we're spending the next hour talking about her. To kick off that hour, we're joined by our old friend, talk show host Larry Elder. Larry, thanks so much for coming on. So you are a Californian, tried and true. You've been in the state an awful long time. You covered the politics of California.
Right.
How strange is it for you, having watched Kamala Harris since she was a prosecutor, to see her with this much power over the entire country?
Well, Tucker, I guess I look at it a little differently. You see, Joe Biden's job was to drag the party across the finish line in November. After that, he could drop dead after he gets sworn in, and they wouldn't care less. Remember, Joe Biden Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucuses, scared the bejesus out of everybody. They made Bernie Sanders the front runner for a little while, and that's when James Clyburn came off the sidelines and endorsed Joe Biden for the California primary, and then the rest of them fell in, so that Joe Biden would get elected and make sure Donald Trump did not get another 4 years. That's all they cared about. After that, then they would have a much younger, more vigorous, more left-wing person like Kamala Harris to push the agenda for the left. And who's running the party? It's the Obama people. It's the Obama expats who are running everything. They're the ones who are pushing all of this, and mission accomplished. They're perfectly happy. Regarding the 25% of Democrats who say they're not even sure that Joe Biden is in charge,
a completely different person, at least on a policy level. Is that true, and what explains it?
You know, I think that's a fair point to make, but I would say that I think this is less a shift of Kamala Harris as it is a shift of the Democratic Party and of the left more generally on issues of crime, policing, and incarceration and prosecution. And, you know, Kamala Harris, you know, was pretty middle of the road for your average Democratic prosecutor in a big city in America when she held that position in San Francisco. She did do some, you know, incremental things, you know, in the reform direction, right? She basically ran on a promise not to enforce the death penalty, a promise which she kept in the case of a convicted cop killer, I would point out. She also, made it a point to investigate cases to see if there was evidence of racial profiling, and if there was, she wouldn't prosecute those cases. So she was clearly, I think, leaning in a reform direction. But if you compared, the average Democratic prosecutor, 5-10 years ago to the sort of progressive prosecutors we see in cities across the country today, I mean, I think they would all seem out of place. What scares me the most about Kamala Harris is that she's kind of continued to embrace the progressive prosecutor moniker despite the crime spikes that we've seen across cities, throughout the country. And she really ought to know better. And she's in a position of real power, as you pointed out earlier. And, the fact that she's not speaking out, not being a voice for a more sober, measured approach to some of these reform initiatives, I think, puts us in some real trouble for a couple of reasons, not least of which is that we could see, progressive prosecutors start to infiltrate the federal government, which has really kind of been free from that for quite a while.
So in other words, become a U.S. attorney, for example.
Right, exactly. And that's actually really concerning, particularly because one of the workarounds of, really radical progressive prosecutors, people like Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, Eric Gonzalez in Brooklyn, New York, one of the workarounds that police have found is to route some of these cases in which there's concurrent jurisdiction to their local U.S. attorneys, because they know at least there's a better chance that, a repeat offender is going to be held pretrial. There's a better chance that they'll get some serious jail time if they're convicted. If we start to see U.S. attorneys go, radically to the left, that option is no longer going to be on the table in cities that desperately need it.
Yeah, badly, like Philadelphia. Raphael, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, you may have noticed, if you've watched Kamala Harris long enough, that she has a very notable and weird physical response whenever she is asked a question she can answer, which is often. What is it? Well, she cackles uncontrollably. We have had an expert study the cackle tapes to figure out exactly what they mean, and we'll tell you after the break. We learned recently from the Atlantic magazine, which was a new experience because we don't normally learn things from the Atlantic, but we did learn that Kamala Harris maintains an enemies list, journalists who make her mad. Harris, Politico reported, quote, tracks political players and reporters whom she thinks don't fully understand or appreciate her life experience. Her life experience, like growing up in Canada, that's the life experience she doesn't want to talk about. But nothing makes her angrier than when people question her lived experience, which is a euphemism for her unsupported opinions. Visiting the southern border with Mexico back in June, one NBC reporter found that out the hard way.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Well, the point, of course, was that you haven't been to the border. But she didn't understand it. And she was equally baffled and enraged a few days later when a reporter at Univision asked the same question. Watch.
I've said I'm going to go to the border. And
when are you going to the border, Vice President?
The administration has asked... I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
Imagine waking up next to that. I'm not finished. Miranda Devine is a columnist with the New York Post, and we're happy to have her with us tonight. So Miranda, I got to think, so this is not someone who was pulled off the street to answer questions from NBC and Univision, both of which are slavishly loyal to the Biden administration. This is the Vice President of the United States who's got a whole PR team around her. What do you make of responses like that?
Hi, Tucker. Well, I mean, she's obviously been prepped to within an inch of her life. She's had extensive media training on this particular question, because the minute that Joe Biden gave her that poison chalice of being the administration's border czar, that was the question. And when she took 3 months to get to the border, obviously she was going to be asked it. And for her bizarre and brittle and very insecure responses to that obvious question, which, Lester Holt could not have been more gentle when he asked that question. It was just that when she outright said, I've been to the border, and he just stunned said, well, actually you haven't, that she then came out with an even more bizarre response about having not been to Europe, and she couldn't understand. Of course she understood. And the problem with Kamala Harris is that she's come up in California, where the media is just unquestioningly showering her with praise. She expects the media to do that. She doesn't expect challenging questions, and she's quite affronted by it. You see her attitude. She gets very chilly, and she feels that it's a mortal offence that she's being asked a question that doesn't allow her to shine and skate through these difficult ideas, like perhaps that there's a problem at the border. And I just think that she's not match fit, and I don't see how she can be, because I guess she's never exercised those muscles before, because all she's ever had is accolades.
I think that's such a wise point. She acts like she's been betrayed by a friend. When the media ask her questions is interesting. Miranda Devine, thank you for your analysis.
Thanks, Tucker.
So we have studied the game tape, the footage. We've come up with a theory for why Kamala Harris seems so sensitive when asked any question that's outside the lines. Whenever she's in an uncomfortable position, she has a very specific, seemingly involuntary reaction to it. We don't want to wreck your night or anything, but here's what it looks like.
And is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
No. And I said, freedom.
No.
And I looked back up at her and I said, freedom.
Boy, we played that of Kamala Harris, but it was really the people interviewing her that were fascinating. What chills they are. But what do we make of this as a physiological and psychological matter? Why the cackling? Jesse Waters is one of America's noted experts on cackling. He's the author of How I Saved the World, and we're happy to have him on tonight. Jesse, good to see you. What do you make of this?
Well, as someone who made his career doing man-on-the-street interviews, Tucker, I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to recognize when someone's uncomfortable in public. And you're right, this is a sign of discomfort. When she's presented with a topic or a question where she's unsure or uncomfortable, she resorts to cackling. In our industry, we refer to this as a defense mechanism. Layman's terms, perhaps, this would be a glitch in the system, a tick or a tell in poker, and she does it for several reasons. One, to soothe her anxiety. Two, to buy her time if she's unsure. She can use that time to formulate a response. Three, to kind of guide the vibe of the interview from a serious to a less serious one. And then finally, it's kind of a lame attempt to form a bond with the person asking her a tough question, and you saw this fail miserably with Lester Holt, who just sat there stone-faced as she laughed in his face about real issues with the border. And I have been studying when she does this. She cackles when she's asked a question about her relationship with President Obama. She cackles when she's asked about her ideology. She's cackled also when she's asked about her management ability, i.e. the border. And she also laughs uncontrollably in an audience setting where she's not on prompter and she's failing to connect with that audience. So those are the results of my behavioral psychological analysis. And thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I feel like this is one of my rare talents.
I think your analysis is spot on, perfect. So just to bottom line it, if you were playing poker with her and she started cackling, you'd double down.
She's bluffing. You picked it up.
That's exactly right. Jesse Waters, thank you. It's interesting. Well, one last thing. It's interesting you pointed out she cackles when asked about her relationship with Joe Biden.
So she was asked by Stephen Colbert about that big moment in the debate where she accused him of being a racist. She just laughs. And that's interesting. Something to follow.
Imagine how much she dislikes him. Jesse Waters, the great Jesse Waters, thank you.
Thank you.
So Harris took charge of the border crisis, and now she said she has identified the root cause of it. Of course, it's climate change. You drive an SUV, so Honduras moves here. Is that true? We'll talk to a scientist about it next.
And he said, this looks like a fantastic product. Balance of Nature really supplied my body with the right nutrients to help heal itself.
Start today by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Fox News.
I wasn't sleeping well, my neck would be stiff.
I had memory foams, I had feather pillows, and I'd always wake up with neck pain, and I had constant headaches. After sleeping on my pillow, I didn't wake up with the headaches, I was more aligned, everything felt good.
I didn't realize the connection between the pillow and sleep. When I switched to my pillow, I got a better night's sleep, and I love it. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. I want you to get the best night's sleep of your life. For a limited time, you can get my premium MyPillows for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. Only $29.98. That's a $40 savings. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it holds that support all night long to take the pressure off your shoulders and keep your neck aligned regardless of your sleeping position.
MyPillow is machine washable and dryable and comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee and an amazing 10-year warranty. Plus, every premium MyPillow is made in the USA. For a limited time, you can get a premium MyPillow for the lowest price ever. Regularly $69.98, now only $29.98. That's a $40 savings with your promo code.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows and nothing's worked like MyPillow. I personally guarantee that MyPillow will be the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. And to help you sleep better, I'm offering you my lowest price ever. Only $29.98 for a queen-size premium MyPillow.
Call or go to MyPillow.com to take advantage of Mike's best offer ever. Use the promo code on your screen to get a queen-size MyPillow premium for only $29.98. Regularly $69.98. Get a king-size for just $5 more. It's the lowest price ever. Only $29.98. That's a $40 savings. This is a limited time offer and not available in stores. Don't delay. Order now. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, it's
forbidden precisely because it's true. But Joe Rogan doesn't work on television. He hosts a podcast.
I'm fighting back.
Concerned about losing muscle strength? Fight back with Rejuvenate. Maximize your workout with Rejuvenate.
Attention, a common herbicide has been linked to Parkinson's disease.
If you were diagnosed with Parkinson's after working around an herbicide, call the Goldwater Law Firm.
Call us right now. You may be entitled to substantial compensation.
Call now, and in less than 2 minutes you can find out if you may qualify.
If you've worked in or around the fields and now suffer from Parkinson's, call 1-800-971-1000. That's 1-800-971-1000. Rejuvenate makes your floors shiny again. Amazing! Rejuvenate makes cabinets glossy again. Wow, beautiful! Let's face it, life can be full of silly little messes. At least you know Rejuvenate is there to make everything clean again. Hooray! Rejuvenate has a full line of products to clean and restore all the surfaces in your home, including hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and ceramic tile. Rejuvenate. Make it new again.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful. So we created our smart seller system to sell your home for top dollar and save you thousands in commissions.
I was amazed in the fact that my house sold in one day. Ideal agents saved me in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 in commission. The process was as easy as it gets. They are the #1 way to sell your house.
Our service is free, available nationwide, and there's zero obligation. Call us today or visit idealagent.com.
Due to overwhelming demand, we're extending our special Grateful Nation offer.
We're giving all active military and veterans Fox Nation for free for an entire year. If you're active military or a veteran, go to foxnation.com right now.
Welcome to Fox News Live. I am Kevin Cork. 4 more bodies found in the rubble of the collapsed condo building in Surfside, Florida. That brings the total number of dead to 22, but 128 people still remain missing. The total number of missing actually down, since some people have turned up safe. Meanwhile, North Miami Beach ordering the evacuation of a nearby condo building after an inspection there showed it too was unsafe. Surfside building collapse prompting the audit of the nearly 50-year-old building. Elsa strengthening into the first hurricane of the Atlantic season. Forecasters say it could reach Florida as a tropical storm on Tuesday. The Cat 1 storm unleashing heavy rains, winds on Barbados, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Storm also blowing off roofs, snapping trees, forcing the closure of schools, businesses, and airports. I'm Kevin Cork. We're going to send you back over to my good friend Tucker Carlson tonight.
Well, ever since she became border czar, Kamala Harris has pledged to identify the root causes of illegal immigration.
What we must do to address the root causes of migration, to address the root causes. The issue of root causes is not going to be solved in one trip. We have to address the root causes.
It's funny when dumb people talk about root causes as if they could identify them, especially when the root cause is herself and the administration she works for. We know that in just the last year since Joe Biden took office, there has been an 800% increase in the number of illegal migrants coming across the southwestern border of the United States. In June, the president of Guatemala said the Biden administration is responsible for this.
Tay says increased border crossings have been caused in part by the change of administrations in Washington.
Y el mensaje cambió a
The message changed too. We're going to reunite families, and we're going to reunite children. The very next day, the Coyotes were here organizing groups of children to take them to the United States. We asked the United States government to send more of a clear message to prevent more people from leaving.
So if Central American governments are upset about it, then I guess we probably have a right to be too. Jonathan Fahey is the former acting director of ICE. He knows a lot about this topic. We're happy to have him on tonight. Mr. Fahey, thanks so much for coming on. Root causes. What would you say is the root cause of this crisis?
Well, I think the true root cause of the crisis is the administration's policies that have been all about encouraging more illegal immigration by not enforcing any of the laws, not even kicking out the most serious criminals. Yeah, it's interesting. The numbers have increased 800%. It's not like there's been a major change in the weather in the last 6 months. It's absolutely preposterous, this root cause issue. It's an attempt to make the issue seem more complicated than it is, and to suggest that we can't even address the immigration crisis until we address climate change. And I'm sure it will be, it'll evolve into systemic racism and all the other normal things. So until we all are driving a Prius and put solar panels on, we can't even talk about the immigration problem. But I think even the press that is trying to give every benefit of the doubt knows how unserious this is. It is just an attempt to distract from what they're really doing, which is they want this to happen. They want as many illegal immigrants to come into the country as possible, and they're not going to throw them out no matter how bad crimes they commit, whether or not they're gang members or anything else. And that's what they've been doing the entire time. And the root cause a distraction. It's pure silliness. When you watch the White House spokesperson have to say root causes multiple times during a briefing, you can even see she's uncomfortable with it because everyone knows it's nonsense. And with the vice president dealing with this issue, this was really a layup for her. They're trying to make it seem like it's a tough issue, but all she had to do was treat it with a mildly serious, say a few platitudinal things that the media would happily be a conduit to launder through, and then they would be able to move on. And it's amazing how badly she's fumbled this issue. It is one comical misstep after another, and it's quite interesting to watch because, like you were saying earlier, she's had so much time with preparation, media training. She should be able to knock this out of the park, and it's been one disaster after another.
So let me say, be as honest as you can. At a time of mass unemployment in the United States, can you see any upside to letting in hundreds of thousands of the hemisphere's poorest people? Does the U.S. benefit in any way from this?
The Democratic Party benefits because they see these as future voters. They think, they're going to get 2/3 of them as voters. Other than that, you really can't see what the benefit is. Will wages go up? No. Will education get better? No. Will the access to health care get better? No. So there really isn't anything that you can see other than pure cynical political motivations. And you think of the wages, but you also think of this crime issue that's going on that you were talking about earlier. And the way that we treated immigration is the same way we treated the crime issue, which the root cause of that, if they ever want to look into it, is the anti-police movement. And although the vice president hasn't been a leader on the border crisis, she has been a leader in the anti-police movement. She's compared ICE agents to Ku Klux Klan members, and she's been a major contributor to this massive crime increase.
Jonathan Fahey, former ICE director. Great to see you tonight.
Thank you.
So Kamala Harris does have a theory about why the border is open and won't stay closed. Of course, it's not her fault. It is the fault of climate change.
There are also long-standing issues that are often called the root causes of immigration. We are looking at the issue of poverty and the lack, therefore, of economic opportunities, the issue of extreme weather conditions and the lack of climate adaptation, as well as corruption and the lack of good governance, and violence against women, indigenous people, LGBTQ people, and Afro-descendants.
It's like a parody. It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Mark Morano is the publisher of Climate Depot. He's also the author of the book Green Fraud. We're happy to have him on tonight. Mark, thanks for coming on. So if you're really concerned about the environment, which they are not, but let's say you were, you probably wouldn't want to make your country more crowded with the world's poorest people, would you? That increases the amount of carbon emissions and guarantees you're going to just spoil the land, does it not?
Yes, you would think so. More population. In fact, Americans have the biggest carbon footprint. So making more Americans, even if they're illegally coming in, would mean higher carbon footprints for these people who live in poor countries. You would think the activists want them to stay poor where they're living Earth-friendly lives. So that's an odd thing. But, for Kamala to say this is just evidence-free, empty rhetoric. They tried the same thing with the Syrian civil war in 2013. They blamed it on climate change-caused drought. And of course, we pointed out that in 1933 in Syria, the government there actually banned the yo-yo because they thought it was causing drought. Now we have yo-yos in the Biden administration claiming not only that climate change is causing immigration, but we have the energy secretary saying it could have caused the condo collapse in Miami. It causes car wrecks and cancer. Other climate activists have claimed. So this is just a long line of just nonsense, particularly on immigration. The science doesn't support him on this. The politics don't support him on any level when they claim climate change.
They're saying that climate change caused the condo collapse in Florida? I hadn't even heard that. That's tremendous. Are they really saying
Energy Secretary, yeah. She was asked on CNN, and she said it could have been one of the factors. They're looking into it. The idea is that sea level rise in Miami weakened the building, and all these other buildings are a threat. They're seizing on anything. It's, this is the day of climate opportunity. They're trying to blame it on every possible malady that we have. In the case of Central America, though, in these droughts, even the UN says global droughts and 4 decades, 40-plus year trends are showing nothing, no increase. So the idea that droughts are causing this immigration, which are allegedly caused by man-made climate change, just doesn't hold up. And even the crop production, even the UN Food and Agricultural data shows crops are still going up in Central American countries. They're not starving to death. So it all comes down to government, politics, and no border. So we could either seal our border, which is inexpensive compared to dealing with these alleged root causes that could take decades to deal with.
Such a good point. Mark, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Tucker. Appreciate it.
So as we noted at the outset, there has never been a large group of Americans who said or behaved as if they wanted Kamala Harris to become more powerful, to run the country. But she did it anyway. How'd that happen? Well, the relationship between Kamala Harris and former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown was the springboard for all of this. We'll tell you about that after the break.
Hi, I'm Mark Spitz. I never dreamed that I would be endorsing a pain relief product, but here I am, very excited to tell you about Relief Factor, the 100% drug-free supplement that is helping tens of thousands.
And then it began aching and felt like razor blades were in there. Then I heard about Relief Factor on the radio, and I tried it, and within 3 weeks, my knees have gotten better and better until I don't even notice it anymore. It's like a miracle to me.
Getting older, exercise, and everyday living can cause pain too, which is why Relief Factor created a 3-week quick start and then discounted it to $19.95. About $1 a day to get out of pain. And after that, less than the cost of a cup of coffee a day to stay out of pain. Live your life with Relief Factor. Only at ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we created our smart seller system to sell your home for top dollar and save you thousands in commissions.
I was amazed at the fact that my house sold in 1 day. Ideal agents saved me in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 in commission. The process was as easy as it gets. They are the #1 way to sell your house.
Our service is free, available nationwide, and there's zero obligation. Call us today or visit idealagent.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow. And to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world is MyPillow.com.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening. American history. How much do people know? Jesse hits the streets to find out. And disrespecting our flag and anthem. Lee Greenwood reacts on justice.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what my grandpa used to play.
When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Caption service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-451-2912. That's 1-800-451-2912.
We buy silver, we buy gold, we buy your jewelry when it's old.
The Showroom on Union pays serious cash for your old gold, coins, jewelry, whatever has value. Look for the bright red awning, 4230 Union Road for instant cash now.
Got some coins, make the dash. Bring your watches, so we pay cash.
See you Saturday.
How cool is William Attar? He once bowled a 300. Over 4 games. Goes by his nickname. He's the life of the party.
But it wasn't a dog, it was banana.
Sort of. So how cool is William Attar? Very cool. Heard of a car? Call William Attar.
Kamala Harris's political career began with an affair. She doesn't like it when you say that, but it's true. That affair was with the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown. Harris was a 29-year-old prosecutor. Brown, subsequent to their affair, offered Harris a series of powerful and lucrative jobs in the state government of California. One of them was with the California Medical Assistance Commission. In other words, at the Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board. She didn't get those because she was talented. She got them because she was having an affair. This little explored feature of Harris's history is worth knowing a lot more about. And Alana Goodman does know a lot about it. She has covered it with the Washington Free Beacon, where she's a senior investigative reporter, and we're happy to have her on tonight. Thanks for coming on. So what should we know about Kamala Harris's affair with Willie Brown, who, for the record, I have to say I like. I think everyone likes Willie Brown. I don't know why he did that. But how important... He is. I hate to say that. He is a great guy. He is a great guy.
Very charming.
And he doesn't like her, that's for sure. But what role did this affair play in her political career?
Well, I think it launched her political career. I don't think that she would be in the place that she is without Willie Brown. When she met him, so she was about 4 years out of law school. She was like a mid-level county prosecutor. Willie Brown was one of the most powerful politicians in the state of California. He was the head of the state assembly at the time. His nickname for himself was the Ayatollah of the assembly. He was very powerful. His name also very synonymous with graft. He was known for putting people into patronage positions, and that was how he was able to build his political machine. And we saw this play out with Kamala. He appointed her to 2 state boards that she was not qualified to be on at the time. She was about 30 years younger than anybody else on these boards. And, you know, it's nice when your boyfriend gives you gifts, but when he gives you a spot on a taxpayer-funded board that's paying $90,000 a year, you might want to question whether this is a completely ethical situation.
You might want to. It's a good point. So what's so interesting is that Willie Brown is now a confirmed non-fan of Kamala Harris's. You didn't see him at the inauguration. Any idea why he dislikes her so much now?
I'm not sure why he dislikes her so much now. You know, their relationship was a bit rocky. They didn't date for too long, and he continued to support her after they broke up. He actually was the largest backer of her district attorney race, and probably the reason how she won in 2003. But you know, I think she wanted the relationship to be more serious than it ultimately was. I mean, Willie Brown has been married for a very long time. He was married at the time when this was going on. He had been separated from his wife for many years, but he's kind of known for dating women for a short amount of time and then moving on.
Yeah, he's a man who prefers variety. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if she tells audiences of young girls, like, the key is to sleep with Willie Brown. I doubt she says that. She should, though. Alana Goodman, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tucker.
Well, one thing we learned recently about Kamala Harris is that she is a very talented crocheter, meaning she excels at the art of crocheting. We have, since we're a major news organization, a crochet correspondent with whom we will check in after the break.
Providing them with mortgage-free homes. Yes, I'm on the waiting list to have a home built. It's going to be amazing. The smart home technology, it makes my life a whole lot easier, and it's 100% accessible. It's built to fit my needs. For me to gain independence again would be just amazing. Be able to just take care of myself as an individual. This home will allow me to be self-sufficient. It'll help me live my life. It gives me back some of my dignity, who I used to be. There is a waiting list for houses. This is the waiting list. There are a lot of people on that list, yeah. There are a lot of guys like me out there. Maybe too many. Gives you back your dignity, your pride, your self-perseverance. Thanks to Talented Towers, I'm going to have all these freedoms given back to me. Home. Personal. Safety. Dignity. Family. Independence. Confidence. It's the American dream, isn't it? Home. I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts. Please visit TalenTedTowers.org. I can't wait until we can try real communism here in America.
Has this ever happened to you and you didn't know how to respond? Well, now there's hope, because you can subscribe to the Epic Times and not only get real news without spin, but we'll send you a very special free gift as well. The ebook, How the Specter of Communism is Ruling Our World. It is the complete story of how this ideology has subverted every facet of America's society, as well as what can be done about it. Go on over to GetEpic.com and claim yours today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with a nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work.
The new MyPillow towels are exclusively made with 100% USA combed cotton with proprietary technology and with maximum absorbency. They dry you faster and are guaranteed to work.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
My name is Johnny. I am 61 years old, a handyman. You know, Balance of Nature is a very good product. I'd heard about it on the radio, so I tried it and started going, and it took about a month for it to start working, and I felt great. I felt like I did when I was 20. I was like, this is real food. And then I started looking into it more and found out that it really was. It was all the vegetables and all the fruits. The right protein in your body really helps your body all around. I mean, it helps you see better, it helps you think better. We'll supplement what you need.
Start your journey with the best fruit and vegetable product on the market by going to balanceofnature.com or by calling 1-800-2468-751. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Fox News. You need an Ecolab scientific claim here.
Hello, I'm Michael Dell, Metro. Thanks to your support, you've helped me become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
I got MyPillow. I'm asleep almost... And here. Which is why the scientific expertise that helps operating rooms stay clean is now helping the places you go every day to seek a commitment to clean. Look for the Ecolab Science Certified seal.
Well, a few months ago, we dialed into Fox News' crochet correspondent in Liechtenstein, where he lives. His name is Mark Stein. And we asked him about the vice president's hobby of crocheting and how the media are covering this. Here's what we learned. So 3 weeks ago, the president put his vice president, Joe Biden, put Kamala Harris in charge of the border. How's that going? It's actually not funny. They're completely changing the population of the country when no one's noticing. Kamala Harris doesn't seem to be paying much attention to her new portfolio either. She still hasn't been to the border. But according to the Washington Post, which is on the case, and by on the case we mean flacking full-time for the new administration, Kamala Harris has been very busy. This week, Jeff Bezos' personal newspaper reported, Kamala Harris has been, quote, making her mark on the Washington area crochet scene. Crochet as in kind of knitting. She's our new crochet czar. She was recently spotted in Old Town Alexandria across the river from D.C.
I was raised by a mother who said, I'm not going to let you sit in front of that television doing nothing. And so I have crocheted more Afghans than I can tell you.
Okay. Mark Stein doesn't sit in front of the television doing nothing either. He's written best-selling books and informed the country on what the news means. He's also our crochet correspondent, and so he joins us tonight to assess what we just saw. Mark Stein, it's great to see you, and it may have been needlepoint. I get confused over some of these handicrafts.
No.
But how do you assess the Post coverage of this?
Well, I think she just made a rather remarkable confession there when she said, I've crocheted more Afghans than I can tell you. I believe that's a war crime under the Geneva Conventions and probably the real reason why we're pulling out of Afghanistan in such a precipitous hurry. So these are not small admissions. You know, Mark Twain, who is a hate crime these days, but back before he was a hate crime, he wrote a novel called A Connecticut Yankee at the Court of King Arthur, in which the time-traveling Connecticut Yankee is very bored by the local newspaper, the Court Circular at King Arthur's Court, which just reports on Monday the King rode in the park, on Tuesday the King rode in the park, on Wednesday the King rode in the park. That is what the Washington Post does under Democrat regimes. Today, Her Royal Highness the Princess Kamala rode in the park to her crochet shop. And it's presented as if, with the usual glass ceiling rubbish. The first sentence in the story is, when Vice President Harris visited a woman-owned yarn shop. A woman owning a yarn shop, Tucker. That's shattering the glass ceiling. Everyone knows the whole yarn shop business was controlled by Halliburton. If you try and buy a nice home-style looking North Country quilt, it's probably made by Dick Cheney over the weekend. And so even this, a woman-owned yarn shop, Kamala Harris, it fits. She's going to a woman-owned yarn shop by a woman who probably declares her pronouns as Kamala declares her pronouns. You know, I used to, as you mentioned at the top of the show, we live in activist, radical times under an urgent, busy government that never stops, whether it's from packing the Supreme Court or from its plan to federalize the voting systems of the country. And yet, incredibly, the president and the vice president, who are the only elected members of the executive branch, seem to have virtually nothing to do with any of this hectic 24/7 governing. So what she's mainly crocheting is a huge, great subterfuge over who's really running this racket.
One of our mini crochet segments. Before we go tonight, the latest episode of Tucker Carlson Today is out. It features Ned Ryan. Worth listening to. It's on Fox Nation. You can watch right now if you so choose.
So what became very clear to me is the Englishmen that left to come colonize the American shores brought with them certain ideas. The Magna Carta, the 1628 Petition of Right. You can't quarter troops in private homes. You have the right to self-defense and bear arms. 1689 Bill of Rights, free elections, free speech.
We'll be back very soon, every weeknight, and we will see you then. Have a great night.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of Hannity, Fighting the Radical Left. I'm Tammy Bruce, in for Sean. And tonight, with July 4th around the corner, millions of Americans are gearing up to celebrate the greatest country on planet Earth. But hold on to your seats, because the Biden administration has a major announcement. According to the White House, the price of a July